Good morning again to all my fellow public servants, and welcome to Saturday Breakfast Program, which includes our general membership meeting and our city awards. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsors for this morning's gathering. We have Uber, we have FFA Architecture and Interiors, we have Ameresco, law firm of Patterson, Buchanan, Phobes, and Leach, and the Walmart Foundation. The generosity of these sponsors brings value to the conference and supports our speakers and award programs. Please join me in thanking these 5 organizations that have sponsored this morning's event. All right, technically, I will open this business meeting of the League of Oregon Cities Board of Directors, now called to order. This business meeting, first order of business this morning is the Treasurer's Report, and I would like to ask that our Treasurer, Mayor Sandy Toms from the City of Boardman, please come forward to give said report. Mayor Toms, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. In front of you, you have a report from the the financial year for 2015-16 Treasury Report. This past year was a stable financial year with revenues in line with the budget and expenses slightly below budgeted amounts. This allows the League to fund future special projects and capital needs. In the past, this has supported efforts such as intervention in PERS litigation and studies and polling in the support of legislative efforts. It also funds the Building Equipment Fund, which is used for capital needs for the building. The League shares with the school boards and court associations as well as the major IT purchases. Do I have any questions? Do I have to have a motion?
Need a motion to accept Treasurer's Report? What? Okay,
You don't need one then?
we're good.
Okay.
Next item of business is election of the 2017 officers and board members. Under LOC Constitution and bylaws, each member city is allowed 1 vote and has designated 1 individual to serve as the voting delegate for that city this morning. Each voting delegate should have checked in and received a voting card this morning when entering the room. If there's a city here this morning that is not represented by a voting delegate, or if there's any voting delegate here this morning who did not receive a voting card, please see staff just outside the doors in the back to receive your card. Good that half the room is not jumping up. The League's bylaws and constitution provide for a 16-member board, which consists of 4 positions, 4 officer positions, and 12 directors. 3 of the directors are city managers, of which 1 is a non-voting member. Under the bylaws, the current treasurer automatically assumes the position of vice president in the year following service as the treasurer. The vice president automatically assumes the position of president in the year following that service, and the president automatically assumes the role of immediate past president. In addition, the city manager in the non-voting position automatically assumes one of the voting positions reserved for a city manager. Directors serve staggered 3-year terms, which means the terms of 4 directors, including 1 city-appointed official, expire at the end of 2016. It's those positions, in addition to the position of treasurer, that we'll be voting on today. Under the League's bylaws, a nominating committee, chaired by the board's immediate past president, thank you, Mayor Truax, is formed to submit to the membership a slate of candidates to fill the open board positions. This year's nominating committee consisted of Mayor Pete Truax of Forest Grove as the chair, Phil Houck, Mayor of Pendleton, Steve Forrester, Prineville City Manager, Jim Lewis, Jacksonville City Councilor, and Mary Shamehorn, Mayor of Bandon. Please join me in thanking those members for doing all that hard work last night. I would now ask that Mayor Truax provide the nominating committee report to the members. Mayor Truax.
Thank you very much. And one here too. I can use both. Stereo.
Stereo, yeah. Give us a little song.
Thought. Tasting. Remember the old Smothers Brothers? It goes tasting, tasting. If you remember the Smothers Brothers, you are of an age. Okay, back to the script. Thank you, President Nenke. On behalf of the nominating committee, I'm pleased to submit to the membership the following nominations. Before I do so, when we went through the nominating Thursday night, we had stellar candidates. All were stellar candidates interviewing for the various positions. And when we made the choice, it was a difficult one to make. We made it. And then it was our obligation to inform everybody as to what those decisions were. And the fault is mine. We did not get to everybody to let them know, and there may be some people that are finding out this morning in the worst of all possible ways. I want you to know that my apology is deep and the fault is mine. Having said that, we moved on to I'm pleased to submit the membership of the following nominations for president. We have on the slate Denny Doyle, the mayor of the city of Beaverton. For vice president, Sandy Toms, the mayor of Boardman. Our nominee for treasurer is Tim Slater, counselor from North Bend and a current member of the board. And nominating for immediate past president, Brad Nanke, the counselor from Salem and our current president. People were adding on to the board. We're nominating for the board as directors from elected officials, Chrisanna Clark, the mayor of Sherwood, and Greg Evans, counselor from Eugene. We are also moving Dan Saltzman again onto the board. Commissioner Saltzman from the city of Portland represents obviously the city of Portland, and that is a requirement of the board of directors that there be at least one member from any city in the state of Oregon larger than 400,000 people, of which there is one. For appointed officials, we are nominating Ron Foggin of Dallas, the city manager, and our continuing directors would be Kathy Clark, the mayor of Kaiser, Lori DeReamer, the mayor of Happy Valley, Thomas Frank, counselor from West Lynn, Camden King, the counselor from Redmond, Rick Olson, the mayor of McMinnville, Scott Lazenby, the city manager from Lake Oswego, and Eileen Stein, city manager from West Lynn. So, Mr. President, that is the report from the nominating committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Truax. Because the league's constitution and bylaws prescribe the nominations for the positions of president, vice president, immediate past president, and the voting appointed city position, the committee's nominations are accepted, and nominations for those positions are now closed. Are there any nominations from the floor for the remaining positions? Yes, Mayor Endicott. Motion by Mayor Endicott, second by Mayor McCardle to close nominations and accept the slate. With that, we'll run straight to the motion to accept that report from the nominating committee to fill those positions as indicated. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye and or raising your card. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. We'll just turn that page. Next item on our agenda is the incoming president's message. This will be provided by Mayor Denny Doyle from the city of Beaverton. Mayor Doyle.
Well, good morning, everybody. I wish you'd speed this meeting up, sir.
Hey, I tried
Okay.
to make him go.
There you go. Well, thank you all for being here, and I'm shocked given some of the reports I have of how late people were up last night. You're an amazing group with good fortitude to be here at 8 in the morning. It's truly an honor to be here with you today. 2017 is just around the corner, and it's going to be a busy year. The start of the legislative session will be upon us before we know it. Actually, we're in the throes of it already. And you know the work the league does for all of us in this room is important. And at this point, I'd like to remember to thank staff who work so hard for us at the Capitol, in the offices, and around the state. But we are lucky to have the staff we have for the League of Cities. Together, we can have a collective impact on the issues that affect all of our cities. Now, more than ever, we have to band together and be involved, stay active, and make sure our legislators understand our priorities, the league priorities, as well as your own. Your LOC board has listened to your input and adopted 4 legislative priorities based on what you have said are the most critical issues facing all of us. We are focused on 1, comprehensive property tax reform. We need a system that is fair and equitable and modern, a system that actually works so we have the resources we need to provide the services our communities need. 2, there we go. Yeah, that's a good concept. Number 2, restoring recreational immunity. Let's bring some common sense, that's a shocking word for government, back to our cities so we don't see more parks being closed. We need to ensure that cities are exempt from liability under Oregon's recreational immunity law. 3rd, transportation funding. Oregon needs a transportation funding package that addresses the critical shortage in funding we all face for our roads, our bridges, safety, schools, you name it. We need to preserve and maintain our existing streets and roads, as well as to protect our critical investments that we've already made. Number 4, I don't like to say this, PERS reform. We need the legislature to adopt critical, sensible reforms to help us address the looming PERS crisis we all face. We all know what that's doing to the bottom line to city budgets, as well as the state. We can't kick this issue down the road. We have to make another attempt to stem the flow so that we can have the staffs we need to do the jobs our citizens want us to do. So, as we move through this, be sure to lend your voice. Join us on City Hall Day at the Capitol, scheduled on February 8th, 2017. Take out your smartphone, please, or your dumb phone, if it has a calendar, and set that date for all of us. We need to have you here. Legislators need to see us constantly, and this would be a great way to start the process. I understand the commitments we all face, but we need your help, your voice, to push our agenda forward together. Being a mayor, being a counselor, being a city manager, being staff anywhere in this great state of Oregon, we have to get results this time. We can't continue to look and say, well, maybe the next session. We've got to get it done now. But the time you invest in league activities, reading your Friday bulletins, staying on top of the latest happenings on our league priority issues, it does make a difference. Being informed is the only way to go today. Together, we can make sure the needs of our cities are understood and our collective priorities are addressed in this next session. Thank you very much. Okay, Brad, I think you're back.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Doyle. Our next agenda item is recognition of outgoing members of the board. Today we have Councilor David Allen of Newport, Prineville City Manager Steve Forrester, that will be accepted by Mayor Betty Ropey, and Jacksonville Councilor Jim Lewis. If I could have them come up here, we got something special for you. I know I saw.
That's right, yeah.
This is for
Steve?
Steve Forrester. We ought to get a photo, and then you can pass that photo on to him.
Okay.
Say, sorry, you could have been the one standing here.
Thank you.
Well, it doesn't look like, yes,
May I have the microphone again?
you
for a
may.
second? I'd like you all to join me in thanking Brad for his year of service. What a lot of you do know, if you have a job, you have to give up some vacation time. If you had looked at this man's schedule for the last year, how many days he was about this state, I don't think he has an hour left of vacation at work. So I want to thank you for that, and we have a small little token of our appreciation. So if you'd join me in thanking our president for his service, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Nice. Okay, let's get this up here. Ooh, that was like 12 pictures that fast. And yes, some of us were up very late last night or this morning, but I had to arrange for a shower for the city of Salem. It was looking a little dirty yesterday, so we cleaned her up last night. All right, we move now on to item 6 of the agenda, report to members, which will be provided by League Executive Director Mike McCauley.
Thank you and good morning. This year, we'd like to start the report with there we go, with a focus a bit on some of the partnerships we have. With the Association of Oregon Counties, we have 2 very large services provided to cities and counties jointly. One of them is City County Insurance Services, and we have a short video from City County Insurance Services highlighting that partnership.
CIS was actually created in 1981, 35 years ago. And its reason for formation was that the cities and counties and municipalities were having a difficult time finding liability insurance. It's a very hard market, and if they could find insurance, it was extremely expensive.
Well, the partnership between the League and the CIS is important because the League is comprised of public entities, in other words, all of the cities in the state of Oregon, while CIS customers are only public entities in the state of Oregon. So it's only natural they have a solid partnership with each other.
The support that CIS provides for LOC is invaluable. At other levels, there's also times when the legislature's in session, there's an issue. A lot of times CIS and LOC can actually work on those issues jointly. So I think it's a very good integration. We figure it's just kind of all full of the suite packages that we utilize.
Being a member of CIS, Tualatin is able to get its liability insurance, its workers' comp insurance, its health benefits through the risk pool. And it's been a great advantage in a number of ways. Most notably is cost. Our health insurance particularly, we've been able to keep the costs for all of our members below what market trends have been. And secondly is the ability for claims administration. When a member like Tualatin has a claim, it's not like you're just going to an insurance company and trying to find out what are the rules and how can the insurance company pay the least amount. With CIS, it's all about solving the problem for the member city. And so there really is no logical alternative in my mind for benefits, for liability, workers' comp than the CIS trust.
CIS offers many services, training, and advice to all levels of city government, such as pre-loss legal advice, HR advice, and workers' compensation advice.
There are cases where city claims would maybe be outside the actual coverage limits, but because it's unique, because it's a member benefit, we've decided to go ahead and pay those claims. It really is an interaction between cities, the League, and CIS. It's all of our money shared together, so we need to be very cautious about how we use that money. We also have to remember it is the money of our members, and so they have a right to have their claims paid quickly, fairly, and at the highest value.
Well, what distinguishes CIS from commercial insurers is at the time of a claim, such as a shooting, CIS will have their risk management teams on the spot, offering help where needed, such as counseling, or in the event of a fire, they arrange for cleanup companies to come in after the fire to mop up the public entity's building, and in other special situations to provide free safety inspections of the entity's buildings and facilities.
Well, I think one of the best ways you can integrate LOC and CIS is the training aspect. With CIS support, that lowers the cost. Cost is always an issue for any city trying to attend training. If you can get the cost down a little bit, then that member gets some good training, and sometimes the training crosses over and actually ends up benefiting CIS too.
CIS has offered over $300,000 in League of Oregon City training grants in the past 4 years. In addition to training, since 2012, CIS has offered over $500,000 in grants to public entities.
Well, it's really important that CIS and LOC maintain our partnership because both are comprised by cities. And so by being a city in Oregon, being a part of the League, and being part of City County Insurance Services, it's pretty much all oars in the water together.
And the other large service that we provide with AOC is the Local Government Personnel Institute, and I'm pleased to have Rob Van Cleve, the Executive Director, say a few words about that partnership.
Well, good morning. I guess I'm the low-tech presentation today, though I will say that the league staff did ask me to come up here and do an Elvis impersonation, but it is a little early in the morning and I'm afraid somebody might get hurt, namely me. So I'd like to start out and say on behalf of LGPI, I'd like to thank President Nanke, Executive Director McCauley, and the entire LOC Board of Directors for their unwavering and ongoing support of LGPI. We are very proud to be part of the LOC, AOC, and CIS family. LGPI was created in 1971 by the League and the Association of Oregon Counties as a member service to give cities and counties access to cost-effective HR and labor relations expertise. LGPI provides a full array of human resource consulting in areas such as class and compensation and the full spectrum of labor relations. I want to say this again because I think it's important. LGPI was created by Oregon cities and counties to serve Oregon cities and counties. That's what we've been doing for the last 4 decades, and that's what we plan to do for the next 4 decades. As your local government personnel institute, we do not have a profit motive. We have a customer service or member service motive. And it's because of that customer service motive that we continue to offer cost-effective services such as labor attorneys at rates that are on average 25% less than the private sector. Now, for the last 8 months, I've been traveling all over the state, attending small city meetings and league regional meetings and getting to know the membership, and most importantly, listening to you. It is important that LGPI know and understand the issues that are unique to your community and that are common to all communities so that we can better serve you. I know that some of you struggle to fill some of your positions, such as finance directors, police chiefs, police officers, public works directors. I know that some of you struggle to fund those positions that are critical to your constituency. PERS increases are looming, FLSA changes are coming, and many of you have collective bargaining agreements that are expiring in 2017. Now for the good news. LGPI is ready and able to help you. Over the last year, LGPI has been rebuilding our team and rebuilding our business. We have a new strategic plan. We have a new financial plan. Our business is strong, and our business is growing. LGPI is here to stay, and we're here to serve you. With almost 150 members in every part of Oregon, we are truly proud to be Oregon's LGPI, and extremely proud to be your LGPI. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Rob is uniquely attuned to cities and counties with service as a mayor and service working in human relations for counties as well as for community college. Looking at this last year, we've had a number of home rule successes. We've had a successful legislative session with the board's continued focus on a proactive approach to addressing city needs at the legislature. We've introduced one new product that I'll talk about a bit more later, LOC Data. We've revised an other resource property tax. The board also had a goal of increased social media presence, and so we have greatly ramped up the use of social media as another way of communicating with members and communicating with others about what's happening at the league and city issues. Home rule is the league's founding position. That's why it was created 90-some years ago. That's what is the focus of our efforts. It is allowing local people through their elected officials and through their ballots to decide what their communities are going to look like, how they're going to fund their communities. No one other than the citizens can create a city. The state does not create cities. Citizens create cities. Their charters are their constitution. Looking at the legislative session just passed, we had local control protected on marijuana. We had options provided for collection of taxes. We had a partial lifting of the construction excise tax and inclusionary zoning prohibitions, again, getting more state preemption off the backs of cities to allow those residents and their elected officials to make decisions. In the court system, home rule was another focus of our efforts. We are currently intervening in Corvallis on annexation preemption. You're probably very familiar with our intervention in Cave Junction with marijuana, protecting local authority over that. In Eugene case, telecom fees, tort claim caps, protecting right-of-way authority and dealing with lawsuits that shouldn't be there. This slide is Councilor Nanke's vacation trip. 194 cities joined Councilor Nanke on his vacation from 97 cities in 9 locations. And I will just, so you know, I avoided trying to do an imitation of Elvis saying thank you after Rob was done, so. Don't encourage me. In the education, we've continued our sort of multimedia approach of providing a variety of ways that people can get training and information. LOC TV, which was launched last year, we continue to add episodes to that while maintaining the traditional training going around the state with live courses. We've added a training component to the regional meetings, and then the small cities meetings are also another part of that educational effort. As was mentioned yesterday by Councilor Nanke, Elected Essentials will be offered again January through March. We will do 8 locations again around the state. It's a full day free training for elected officials geared towards giving you basic technical knowledge and basic knowledge about what are some good thoughts and ways to work collaboratively and effectively as a council, and how to work collectively and collaboratively with your community. Publications, we have put more focus in local focus. This year we have 10 issues where we have tried to do a more in-depth treatment of some issues that are topical. In the legal area, we continue to increase the number of inquiries that we're fielding. 5 of the 7 appellate cases in which we intervened as an amicus were decided favorably. We filed 5 new amicus briefs since this time last year, and they're really smoking there, working on marijuana. You have to have one marijuana pun. Research and reports. We continue to put out a number of reports that are of interest both to elected and appointed officials to help you do your work, as well as to the media to tell the city's story. New and improved resources, LOC data. This was launched in April, and a number of you came to the Ask LOC booth and learned more about how to use it. I've heard from a number of both elected and appointed officials that this is a valuable way to get information that you can look at, you can sort, it's readily available. How do you compare to another city? What is information? So we've had 25,000 views of this page since we launched it in April. The other resource that we have updated, property tax and budgeting resources, have now been placed on its own website that you can link from our homepage. We hope that this new orientation will make it easier to access those resources. You see the tabs underneath, right along with the logo there. Property tax, when you go down that, it will give you various resources that tell you about property taxes, that help explain it, budgeting the same thing. And then the resource tab coming down is where you will find templates. So for example, we have a template where you can put in your city's numbers and it will give you a dollar bill segmented that you could use, for example, in a budget hearing to explain, here's where your tax dollar goes, etc. Legislative priorities, as Mayor Doyle mentioned, we have 4 priorities. And folks say repetition is good, so I'll be a little repetitive. These priorities, which were determined by committees, approved by the board, voted on by the members, are only going to happen if we have a partnership of a very good intergovernmental relations team and you to tell your story. You've probably heard me say this many times, but I'm going to say it again. If your legislator doesn't hear from you, when our staff goes and says, this is really important that recreational immunity be restored, and they look at, the legislator looks at the IGR person and said, my council, my mayor didn't say anything, my city manager didn't say anything, that is an excuse for them to avoid dealing with an issue that is very important to your city. Don't let them have that excuse. As Mayor Doyle said, get involved, contact folks. And it's very important, if you can, let us know about those contacts. That's very important intelligence. So if your legislator is going, nah, I don't believe that, let us know. We can try and persuade them or overcome that, or if somebody says, yeah, I'm really in favor of that, again, useful information. And it's also useful if they're telling you, hey, that's the greatest idea since sliced bread, and they're telling us, no way. We can bridge those gaps. Again, City Day at the Capitol, February 8th. And with that, thank you so much for your participation in the league, your participation in the conference. Your staff is here to work on your behalf. Let us know how we can help you better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. That concludes the business portion for this morning. Yes, Mayor Endicott. Update on City Hall Week.
I'll have Craig do that. I think he'll be a little bit more in depth.
And our special guest this morning.
Special guest. No Elvis impressions. Thank you, Mike, for bringing me up, and Mayor for the question. So yeah, City Hall Week takes place every 2 years, as I'm sure you all know. It's an opportunity for us to preview the League's legislative priorities, not only to further educate our own members, but to discuss those priorities with candidates for the legislature, both incumbents as well as challengers. We had 17 meetings around the state, regional meetings. They were well attended. Sorry, I wasn't prepared with the numbers, but there were, I think, 200-300 people who participated altogether. I'm guessing around 50 or so candidates for the legislature, again, both incumbents as well as challengers. We had some media coverage, which we solicit and encourage. So I think it was a very successful week. As I said, it's an opportunity in a more casual setting to sit down and educate and discuss and get feedback from legislators and candidates for the legislature as to what they think about our legislative priorities. So I think that pretty well covers it. If there are any questions about it, I would try to answer them. I want to, before I leave the podium, I want to thank those cities, those 17 cities who did host. It's quite a bit of work putting together a meeting of that kind, and one of the themes we try to underscore is that this is a city event. The League helps coordinate it. Obviously, with your participation, we identify the priorities, the board approves those priorities, but then we hand the conduct of the meeting off to the city hosts, and that's a heavy lift as well. So again, we appreciate the 17 cities who hosted and the other cities who came from far and wide, as they say, to participate. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig. With that, If no one else is going to jump up, we will close that portion of the business meeting this morning, and we'll move on to city awards. Mayor Doyle. Hey, you get to slam that thing around next year.
Only if your hand is there. Well, good morning again. And before moving to the program, I just want to wish everybody good luck in November who needs luck in November. I want to thank those of you who are retiring. I've talked to a number of people that are letting go of their passion, and this room knows exactly what that feels like and what elections are all about, so good luck in November. Before I present this year's awards, I'd first like to acknowledge our distinguished panel of judges who reviewed the entries and chose our winners. These included Mayor Ron Bream of the City of Yachats, LLC past president, Ryan Deckert, president of the Oregon Business Association and former state rep as well as state senator, Dr. Lindsay Shirley, associate provost for the University Outreach and Engagement, associate director of extension services for Oregon State University, and Dick Hughes, the editorial page editor for the Statesman's Journal newspaper in Salem. The League really appreciates all the time and effort given by these very busy people to assist with this year's program awards. Before we present this year's award for excellence, I would like to acknowledge each of the cities nominated. The City of Gladstone with an innovative public-private partnership to address city infrastructure. The City of Lake Oswego for entrepreneurial IT and finance dashboard that has been shared with several other cities. The City of Sandy for creating a leading model of municipal broadband service. And the City of Tualatin for a public-private partnership to complete the Tualatin River Greenway Trail. A round of applause, please, for our nominees. Some good stuff. Thank you. The awards committee spent a lot of time discussing these nominations. The competition was tough, and the decision-making was challenging, as they always are. They closely analyzed each of the nominations to ensure that the award is given to a city that is truly being creative and showing innovation to ensure excellent public service. The committee wants to recognize all the nominations for looking at their operations and plans in new and innovative ways. You might check all of them out. Maybe there's something you can bring to your city. At the end of all the discussion and judging, I am pleased to announce this year's award for excellence goes to the City of Tualatin for their unique effort and creativity it took to push forward and complete a project that had several challenges and required creative solutions and partnerships. The Tualatin River Greenway Trail project is a 3/4-mile shared use pathway that connects a missing link in Tualatin's active transportation network. This project is a public-private partnership that connects 67,000 nearby jobs to retail. This trail provides safe and convenient multimodal access across Interstate 5. It's much better than running across a route for which there is no safe connection had existed prior to this project. The project was made possible by many partnerships with private landowners, local business, state, regional, and county funding programs and stakeholder involvement. Sherilyn Lumbos, would you please come to the stage to accept your city's award? Do you want me to continue? There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell the old man, congratulations. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hang on, yep.
Speed winder.
Okay. Just a little bit more about the project. The Tualatin River Greenway Trail project is a new shared use trail that fills a gap in a larger 4.7-mile segment of the Tualatin River Greenway. The Greenway is located on the north and south banks of the Tualatin River, runs through Tualatin, Durham, and Tigard, and now connects 5 major parks and natural areas as well as residential and commercial facilities. With the goal of filling a gap in a county-wide transportation system, it also provides a connection to the future with the Ice Age Tonkin Trail that will extend the regional network an additional 22 miles. The creative funding that this took stood out to the judges. Tualatin needed a mere $3.8 million to complete the design, permitting, and construction, and they got there using ODOT Connect Oregon grants, the Washington County Opportunity Fund, a $600,000 donation from the development company Centaur Cal Properties, Tualatin Park development fees, part of the Metro Parks bond measure money, Washington County Visitors Association funding, along with the Heal Cities program. So it took a lot to make this happen. So I want to congratulate Tualatin and all the other nominated cities for their participation in this year's award. So thank you again, everybody. Next, we will now present this year's Helen and Allenberg Good Governance Award. Similar to the Award for Excellence, this award specifically targets city programs or efforts which have a specific purpose of engaging and or educating citizens. Before we present this year's Good Governance Award, I would like to acknowledge each of the cities nominated. Humbly, my own city, the city of Beaverton, was nominated for its Cultural Inclusion Program. And the other nomination that came forward for this award was the City of Dallas for the Dallas Citizen Engagement Initiative. Thank you to both cities and their staff. Again, it was a challenge for the judges to decide which city to select. They looked up on social media page usage, browsed web pages, as well as they were judging these two nominations. So the judges have decided to award this year's Good Governance Award to the City of Dallas for their citizen engagement initiative. Mayor Dalton, would you please come forward to accept your award? Whoa. A spring to your step, sir. Good deal. All right. Thank you, sir. I'll do some more bragging on you, okay? All good. All right. This is a great story. As a precursor to this award-winning initiative, the City of Dallas adopted a 2030 vision, which included prioritizing goals with a common theme to communicate with and outreach to members of their community. With that, they launched the award-winning Dallas Citizen Engagement Initiative. This initiative established an annual City Department Expo where community members are invited to visit representatives from each department and community partner so the citizens can gain a unique perspective and a better understanding of what the city does. The city's new Tuesdays on the Square provides residents a better sense of place and a new way to interact with their downtown on an otherwise quiet evening in Dallas. The city has launched a Take a Closer Look at Dallas campaign, which includes branding and brochures that highlight everything from businesses to tourist activities. They started a Year in Review magazine to highlight accomplishments and have capped off this effort with the Dallas Citizens Academy. The Academy had a waiting list in its initial year, and everyone was really surprised to see city staff on that waiting list to educate themselves more about the city outside of their own department. According to the city, the attendees to this academy were not the same faces that show up at all city activities. Isn't that refreshing? These were fresh new faces belonging to community members who genuinely wanted to learn more about their city. This free academy included 6 sessions in which elected officials and their city staff showcased the functions of the city government, introduced them to the city staff responsible for those functions, and created champions for the city. Once again, congratulations to the City of Dallas, this year's recipient award winner of the Helen and Allenberg Good Governance Award. Thank you again to Dallas. Okay. Brad, it's back to you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Doyle. And thanks to everyone for making the awards this year a success. We invite you to proceed to the next group breakout sessions. Don't forget to stick around today for our closing event, which will include our candidate forum. And just a reminder on that, no entry and no re-entry after 12:15. Make sure you got all your business done before they close the doors off, because if you have to leave, you will not be allowed to re-enter after 12:15. The doors will be locked for security purposes. With that, thank you and enjoy the rest of the day here at the 91st Annual LOC Conference.